Hey everybody, it is a Sunday afternoon here in the Mile High City, and I am back with another deck tech. Today, we're going to be talking about King Macar, the Gold Cursed, which is actually the flavor kind of a King Midas type character. For those of you unfamiliar with the King here, he is a forecasting cost, 2 colorless and 2 black, legendary creature human. He's a 2/3. And his ability is he's inspired, and whenever King Macar the Gold Curse becomes untapped, you may exile target creature. If you do, you may put a colorless artifact token named Gold onto the battlefield. It has sacrificed this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So I sat down and I've shelved my mono black deck for quite a while, and I saw this guy and I was like, well, maybe I can do something fun around him. So what I ended up wanting to do with this deck is use his inspired ability, his exile ability there, to its fullest. And how I do that is with a series of spells and cards that untap him, and tap him in, untap him, I should say. It's also worth noting that he can be the main guy in this deck, or if I'm feeling really adventurous, I've got Coco, I don't even know how to say, Lord of Wee. And this guy does a mind rot if you just tap him. So obviously there's so many spells in this deck that untap, these guys that he's a natural fit in the deck. And if I'm really bored, I threw in my old commander Xiaodun into the deck because he can be used in this deck as a commander as well. And I've got some cards in here that synergize with him. So really, primarily it's a King Macar deck though. So let's figure out how we want to really abuse that inspired ability there. So here's my untap package. These are cards that synergize basically just perfectly with King Macar. The first one being Silver Skin Armor. This card's important because the +1/+1 is nice, but really what we want to do is make King Macar an artifact in addition to his his creature form, his creature self. So this card then combos with stuff like Unwinding Clock, where we untap all of our artifacts each turn. So if we have ways of tapping King Macar, we can be exiling a creature every turn. And the same with Clock of Omens. Again, these are cards that they just work with all the different artifacts in the deck. Stuff like Basalt Monolith, stuff like Mana Vault. And that's why they're in here. Then we have Puppet Strings, just tap or untap. So if I need to, tap King Macar at the end before my next turn starts, or if I need to untap him to exile something, that's a great card for that. Voltaic Key, untap artifacts. So if I have him Silver Skin Armor? Is that what it's called? Yeah. So if I have him Silver Skinned Armor, I can untap him, or I can untap Mana Vault and Basalt Monolith. Umbra Mantle, just additional untaps there. 1,000-Year Elixir, untap. This is untap as well as do damage. Copy, you can copy his inspired ability because it has the text of whenever in it, so you can get 2 exiles out of a single untap with King Macar. Viridian Longbow, this is just a way of tapping him and being able to ping little dudes off the battlefield. And just some throwback cards. I always like having some style points in my deck, so there's probably better choices for this deck in terms of untapping your creatures, but Jandor Saddlebags kind of works a little bit overcosted. Ebony Horse, but you never saw a deck that was going to have Ebony Horse in it. This is kind of like Reconnaissance, I believe. Yeah, just a very old card, but both from Arabian Nights, so I just play them even though they're suboptimal. And we're running so many artifacts in this deck that we gotta have a way of protecting them, and Guardian Beast is that guy. I love this guy. He's one of my favorite creatures in Magic. Top 5, top 10 creature for me. Just totally love his ability. Black artifact protection. You don't see that very often. So with all the untapping we're gonna do, I have a small suite of creatures here that I would use as well. Because the deck focuses a lot on tapping and untapping, we have ways of tapping our opponent's creatures, and we can use Royal Assassin here to get rid of them. I have a combo with this guy right here. Basically what he does, don't mind that huge amount of text there, but what he does is just tap and then sack an artifact. You gain that artifact's casting cost in your mana pool and colorless. So he combos with Spine of Ishsaw. You tap him, you sack Spine of Ishsaw comes back to your hand, and you recast it with the mana you just gained from sacrificing it. So with multiple untaps, you can bounce Spine of Ishsaw with into your hand a couple times a turn, three or four times a turn. It can be really sick with this guy. Painseer, again, he's just a way of he's card draw, and he has an inspired as well, so he can draw you cards multiple times. And then just some air defense here with Vampire Nighthawk, with Death Touch, Flying, and then Death Gaze Crocodries. So this is kind of a new thing I've been doing with my decks, just because I've been dying too early. And one of my friends said, dude, you don't play enough creatures. This is why you get killed by Skitherix in turn 3 or whatever. So I've been trying to incorporate some flyers with Death Touch into all my decks. So moving on, I'll next go to my tutor package. This is kind of the tutor and card draw package. I won't spend too much time talking about these cards simply because they just help move through the deck and kind of get you the stuff you need to keep it going. The premise of the deck is, obviously to kill creatures with King Macar. So these are just card draw spells to keep you going. And I kept greeting here. I know it's kind of suboptimal, but it keeps with the theme of the gold and King Macar, Ancient Cravings, Siphon Mind, Demonic Tutor, Promise of Power, and Rootscar Demon. So those are just card draw and tutor spells. I'll next move to my ramp package here. I'm running 15 or 16 ramp spells. Just, mono black struggles with ramping. So I have a bunch of stuff in here just to, obviously stuff like Springleaf Drum synergizes with King Macar because it can tap him and you gain a mana from it, and then when he untaps, you're not forced to attack, I guess is what I'm saying. You can just tap him and get a mana into your pool, and then untap him during your upkeep and exile something. Extraplanar lands, I'm running a full suite of snow-covered swamps, so this card's pretty good with those. Mana Vault with all the untap artifact stuff we're doing works great. Worn Power Stone, Basalt Monolith, again more of the untap stuff that we've got going on. Expedition Map, going to get coffers. Soul Ring in every deck. Paradise Mantle, another card that can tap King Macar, so we want that for sure. Dark Steel Ingot. Honor Worn Shaku. This is just basically some King Macar tech here. Tap a legendary permanent, you can untap it. So this just combos with tapping King Macar so we can exile stuff. Pilgrim's Eye. Magus of the Coffers. Again, we're generating lots of mana with this deck. We've got a lot of expensive stuff to cast and a lot of stuff to dump mana into. So stuff like Magus of the Coffers works perfectly. And then Grim Monolith there. Again, we have all those untap effects. So the last package before the land is kind of like my utility package here. I have Kuskan Falls here. I kind of love this card. I always wanted to put it in a deck. With the amount of exiling I'm doing, I don't know if it's exactly necessary, but it's a cool Homelands card in black, so very neat. Glaring Spotlight, just more utility here, just getting around hexproof, being able to exile guys that have hexproof, stuff like Earl the Mistwalker, stuff like that. Phyrexian Furnace, just some graveyard hate. Orb of Dreams, permanents come into play tap, works with Royal Assassin and some of the other cards in the deck. Ice Manipulator, tapping and untapping is a huge thing in this deck, so Ice Manipulator is a natural fit. Spine of Ishsaw we talked about earlier with the combo with the Priest of Yawgmoth. Millstone, probably going to remove this. I just had it in my mind that too many people were using Enlightened Tutors and Vampiric Tutors, and yeah, I just convinced myself I need to put it in there, but it can probably come out. Swift Boots, Protect King Macar. Exsanguinate, game winner right there. I have 1 mini with that. Cobble Curse, it kind of goes with the theme of exiling permanents. You got a ton of mana at your disposal, so a card like this can be recurred with Xiaodun, Recast. So yeah, it's kind of one of the closers in the deck as well. And then I have some just utility Xiaodun reanimation stuff right here. Lastly, 38 basic land in all my deck. Coffers, Vesuva, just stuff that generates a ton of mana. And then the snow-covered swamps. So that is my King Macar deck. It's a lot of fun. It hasn't won yet, unfortunately, but I'll let you guys know when it does. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know. Thanks for taking the time. You guys have a great day.